From the Mumbai studios of Republic TV, it's time for The Debate.
And thank you for joining us on The Debate. My name is Niranjan and I'm filling in for Arnab Goswami, who will be back soon. 3.66 lakh cases in 24 hours. And India is on the bend. More and more cases, more and more states now seeing a plateauing as center and states fight a joint battle. We'll tell you all about that and the story that everyone's talking about, broken on Republic TV, followed by the rest. A Chinese whistleblower and a virologist spoke to Republic TV on an explosive report. That's our top focus and debate number one. A 2015 report that China is now trying to deny. That's our top focus on the show this evening. China is denying it, but can they do that? It's too coincidental. Some big names and the revelations are many. And at 10 p.m. we continue to keep our focus on the COVID coverage from across India, over 30 reports, and that big interview. That big interview of the virologist also coming up. Dr. Lee Meng-Gan spoke to us from New York. Here are the headlines this Monday evening. There's a global alarm over 2015 Chinese military report that allegedly states use of coronaviruses as bioweapons.
China government actually have the best materials and knowledge. It target human very well and also economic by using this unrestricted bioweapon.
A whistleblower now in New York is making explosive claims, says China used a virus to destroy economies. We'll tell you all about her interview. With a remarkable center-state cooperation, Team India taking the second COVID wave challenge head-on, working day and night, states and center, ensuring that we put all our might into the battle. Delhi police issues lookout notice against restaurateur Navneet Kaldra, accused of a massive oxygen racket. Himanta Biswa Sarma takes charge as the 15th Chief Minister of Assam, dives into the COVID relief operations on day one. All 77 BJP MLAs in Bengal get central security cover amid charges of post-poll violence in the state. From the beginning of 2020, one of the biggest questions that the entire world has been asking is whether coronavirus was a bioweapon. Republic TV is in access of a report that was reportedly drafted in 2015 by China, by some of its topmost generals, and now being investigated by the US State Department. An explosive report that the entire world is now talking about. Here are the details.
January 2020, world was reporting a mysterious outbreak in the city of Wuhan in China, later to be recognized as COVID-19. Within 3 months, COVID-19 was declared a pandemic.
COVID-19 can be characterized as a pandemic.
Hospitals across the world, even in most developed countries like the United Kingdom and the United States of America, were overwhelmed. 15 months after the outbreak, India has been battling the second surge. a wave that has overburdened the healthcare system. And amid the resurgence, a global report has raised alarm. International media has reported on a purported 2015 Chinese military report that talks about using SARS coronaviruses as a bioweapon to be unleashed across the world. A claim echoed by a Hong Kong virologist currently in New York.
China government actually have the best materials and knowledge about this. And also from SARS-1, they really realize that this is a good material to develop the non-traditional bioweapon, which means the mortality doesn't need to be high. It can be low, but the main result is it can be long-lasting in the society. It targets humans very well, and it's invisible, easy carry, also stable in the environment, and also the secondary damage will ruin the enemy's society and also economics. That is the key point they want to achieve by using this unrestricted bioweapon.
So many experts believe that Wuhan lab could be the source of a possible bioweapon unleashed internationally.
Now the bad coronavirus in nature had not made the jump from bad to human. How has it become possible all of a sudden? Because genetically it has been engineered, and this is a gain of function kind of a exercise. This virus originated in China. How come there are no mutations in China? We have the next wave coming up in India, not in Pakistan, not in Nepal, not in Bangladesh, not in Sri Lanka. Does the virus know boundaries?
In recent times, the way this pandemic has flared up in India, there is every possibility that this could be just a manifestation of biowarfare, which they have been talking about. Till we had this confrontation in Ladakh, the situation in India was under control. We had a virus strain which was not very lethal. And all of a sudden, after this confrontation in Ladakh, we see that all of a sudden the graph starts rising, and now we become the epicenter of this global pandemic. Now this shows that it is not a natural phenomena. There is something which has been done.
Chinese state media has dismissed any such claims of using a bioweapon. But can China escape a global scrutiny? Let's debate.
Joining us on the debate tonight are Sanju Verma, National Spokesperson of the BJP, Major General G.D. Bakshi, Defence Expert Sushant Sareen, Senior Fellow of the ORF, Suhail Seth will be joining us from 9:20. Dr. Sriram Cholia, contributor at Republic and also an expert at international affairs. Professor D.K. Giri, political commentator. Suneet Chopra, political analyst. Dr. Fatahuddin, who's the HOD at Pulmonary and Critical Government Medical College, Ernakulam, joining us live from Kerala this evening. And I'd like to start with Dr. Ravi Godse. Ravi Godse is an internal medicine specialist. He's live from Pennsylvania this evening. Dr. Godse, and to all our panelists, good evening. You know, when we first read that, it sounded all too familiar. And then when we went into the details, and when we saw that more and more countries, more and more experts were raising questions, and we then got access to the entire report, Dr. Godse, if the US State Department is looking into it, if US officials have obtained papers of Chinese scientists describing SARS coronaviruses as heralding, I repeat, as heralding quote-unquote new era of genetic weapons and claiming the viruses could be, and I repeat, artificially manipulated into an emerging human disease virus, then weaponized, unleashed in a way never seen before. Now, I'm purely going by the report. Could the possibility of COVID being man-made be ruled out? Dr. Godse, I'll start with you.
Nothing cannot be ruled out, and it's not new. In 600 BC, in Peloponnesian War, Athens and Sparta tried throwing dead bodies with plague against each other. When the Americans were fighting the Indians, President Jefferson was suggested to distribute the smallpox blanket. Luckily, he said no. So this biological warfare is as old as human being. As long as we live, we will find new ways of killing each other. But my point is, with this China, right now, we either need to stop talking about it, or we need to start doing something about it. What the hell are we going to do? Are we each sending each other WhatsApp messages that this is a conspiracy by China? How does that help anybody? If you're so strong, if you're so sure, the Indians can say, okay, we'll break diplomatic relations with China. Are we ready to do that? No. So then we need to proceed with the data what we have. Now, when President Trump was in power, he was castigated for calling it the Chinese virus. You couldn't even call it a Chinese virus. You had to call it the SARS-CoV-2. And now, unfortunately, I think in India, we have got a mindset, we are calling it the Indian mutant. It's wrong. It's not the Indian mutant. If you look at it, it looks exactly similar to the UK mutant, this B117. In 3 years, the world would have forgotten that it was the Chinese virus, and we will start calling it the Indian mutation. What are we going to do about it? Today, what we have it in hand is I have a 5-point. We have to control it right now. And then we have to start at the same time investigating right now we have to save our people. We have to get and I keep saying, if we can take the virus from China, why not the vaccine? Means if the Indian vaccine had not worked, I would have said take Sinopharm, take whatever the heck you can get from anywhere in the world, but save our people right now. US State Department is looking very closely at that. But remember in 1961, when India attacked Goa and threw Portugal out, China could have done that with Macau, but they did that in 62. They waited few months and Kennedy administration went against India. In 1971, when India was battling Bangladesh, Nixon wanted to open relationship with China. So US was against India. So globally, the US and India interests are not always aligned. But this time, we are going to be together. I'm an Indian born, Indian raised. Now I'm a US citizen. Very few months from now, the entire manufacturing can come to India. And we have to stop making people afraid. India's mortality rate is still very good. Though we are seeing all these numbers, if we keep these people alive for more than 8 to 9 days, the herd immunity, we are running towards it leaps and bounds. And then we have to stay strong and investigate. But right now, just talking about this is a China thing, what do we achieve? We have to treat the people first, get them the oxygen, do things at hand, approve all the foreign vaccines right now. We have to do that and then talk about China.
I agree with you, and thank you for that, because that's exactly what we are doing until this report fell into our hands today. We're looking at solutions here on Republic TV and at 9 p.m. and on this channel and on this network. Our entire campaign has been to find solutions. Everyone knows that on the panel, including Sushant Sareen, who I want to go to next. Sushant, looking at this report, top experts around the world believing that they feel this report has now begun to firm up the possibility that what we have here is the accidental release of a pathogen for military use. Now, taking forward what Dr. Godse said, if that were to be, say, the scenario of what really happened, how does one ensure there is accountability? Because so far, nobody has been able to hold China accountable, including the WHO, which, the investigation of which has turned out to be a complete sham. Sushant.
So I think the problem is that you haven't been able to hold China accountable in large part also because as of now, there is no real compelling evidence that this is indeed a vaccine which is part of a larger biological warfare plan by the Chinese. I certainly will not rule it out for a very simple reason that as the previous speaker, the doctor said before me, countries have been doing this, countries experiment with this, countries even talk about this. For example, if the Indian establishment does not talk about, the possibility of a chemical warfare, although chemical weapons are banned, even in a sense, biological weapons are banned. But if supposing we are not at least gaming how these things are likely to play out, then we are not a serious country. So the fact that some scientists in China speculated or spoke about or were discussing the possibility of weaponizing a particular virus and the previous virus in 2015, the SARS virus at that point of time was a fairly virulent kind of a virus. So the fact that they discussed that they would want to weaponize it does not necessarily lead to a conclusion that they did actually weaponize it, or they were trying to weaponize it, and that there was an accidental leakage. Like I said, I certainly will not rule it out, but then there are other things which are not kind of adding up. For example, no sensible country, and at least in these things, China is fairly sensible, would even try and develop or release such a virus if they did it deliberately without having an antidote for themselves. The Chinese vaccines are certainly not the best in the world. In fact, the Covaxin is a far better vaccine, which we have made. The other vaccines like Covishield and the Pfizer and the Moderna vaccines are far superior to what the Chinese vaccines are. So clearly, the Chinese would have decided to manufacture a vaccine of their own and a proper solution so that their people are not going to suffer. The Chinese managed to clamp down. We don't know, again, given that it's China, we don't know what the numbers really are, how many people actually died, how many people actually suffered. But let us imagine that it was at a factor of 2 or 3 or 4 than what the Chinese claim happened. Even then, if you look at it, the Chinese would have, the kind of steps they took to clamp down that China could do. We could never do something like that in India. No other country in the world could have those kind of draconian restrictions on their people, the kind which the Chinese have. So they managed to control it. But then there were other countries which managed to also control it fairly well. Vietnam is an example. Taiwan is another example. Now, surely if the Chinese were to unleash such a virus, one of the first countries they would have unleashed it on is Taiwan. They haven't done it out there. We are not their only enemies. The Americans are not their only enemies. There are a whole lot of enemies which the Chinese have. The Chinese have more enemies than they have friends. But like I said, I think this thing needs to be investigated. I think the world needs to insist upon a proper, forensic kind of an evidence. And I'm not a virologist. I'm not a doctor. I'm not even a biologist. Last I studied biology was in class 10, which is many years back. But the fact that somebody needs to get to the bottom of it, whether this was a naturally born virus, whether this was a lab-developed virus, if it was a lab-developed virus, then was this kind of accidentally released? Was it deliberately released? I think that the insistence that we investigate and you get to the bottom of this has to be done, number one. Number two, if at all there is any evidence and irrefutable evidence that this was either a lab-developed virus or it was deliberately released, or even if it was accidentally released, then I think a very, very heavy price has to be imposed on the Chinese for causing millions of deaths, for causing billions and hundreds of billions of dollars of damage to countries around the world, destroying lives, destroying livelihoods. I think then China needs to be made accountable, and China then will certainly need to be isolated from rest of the world. I know it's easier said than done, but that retribution has to be visited on China. But until you have that solid evidence, I don't see how you can proceed on that course.
Yeah, I agree with you completely there. Now let me go across to Dr. Fatahuddin. Fatahuddin is the HOD, Pulmonary and Critical Care, Government Medical College at Ernakulam. Now, and then I'll bring in General G.D. Bakshi after that. Dr. Fatahuddin, now, why the reason why we are debating this is also, in the minds of people. When a report like this emerges and 1 year after, all the claims were made, there were a few whistleblowers who came out and spoke. There was some sort of evidence, and this report is now being investigated. Now, in the minds of people, one question that arises is it a coincidence? For example, is it a coincidence that India, with which China has engaged in direct conflict in Galwan in June 2020, is now witnessing a second COVID wave, which is deadlier than the first wave, recording over 1 lakh cases every day? Now, some questions on people's mind, Dr. Fatahuddin. What is your take on this report?
See, basically now we have an enemy, we have an invisible enemy in our country. So, as a doctor, my primary job is to chase, fight, and kill the enemy first, and then probably trace and find out the source. So, the need of the hour, as Dr. Godse was telling, is to protect our citizens at the earliest with the available scientific evidence, with the available treatment modalities, and also with the powerful vaccines. So, the theories were in circulation right from 2019-20 that it was Wuhan virus, then it said it is Chinese virus, then it somehow died down, primarily because by the time the scientists all over the world have actually came out with the genetic sequencing, it is easy for anyone to find out by looking at the genetic sequencing as whether this is artificially engineered or a naturally occurring virus. From whatever evidence that is available and whatever I have read so far, it appears and there is a constant denial. There was a constant denial that this is definitely a naturally occurring virus which kept on mutating and mutating and mutating. That is one characteristic of a natural virus. A natural virus keep on mutating. But an artificial virus, after some time, probably it cannot mutate after meeting a dead end. But a natural virus can keep on mutating, and that is how the virus survives and perpetuates, and it's a survival instinct. So, like I said earlier, the need of the hour is to concentrate and put all our efforts to protect our citizens from this deadly virus, chase, fight, and kill this invisible enemy, primarily through early identification of the case, put them in the hospital early, give aggressive treatment, ventilate them, give them adequate oxygen, and meanwhile, we have 100 crores of people who remain unvaccinated. By some means, we have to borrow, take loan, or steal, or beg. We have to get the vaccine from somewhere. We make it as much as we can, borrow it, take a loan, steal it if you can, make and borrow and buy, and just go and finish the vaccination process. So far, our evidence is that vaccinated people are somehow, they are remarkably protected. They will not be killed by this virus, even if they get infection after the vaccination. So even if you get the infection, it will be mild. There won't be any casualties. There is absolutely no death. So this is the time where we have to concentrate more on chasing, fighting, and killing the invisible virus. And then probably we can enter into a kind of the source, which is probably not the job of a professional like me. And that will be done by the national security agencies and the administrators.
May I?
There's a little bit of a trivia, and I want to mention that before I go across to Major General G.D. Bakshi. Just one second. I just want to make a small mention. Dr. Fatauddin, you mentioned vaccination. Yeah. General Bakshi, Niranjan here. I'm just coming to you in exactly 5 seconds. I just wanted to make a mention of a very interesting trivia on vaccination. Seychelles is a very small country which has vaccinated over 60% of its population against COVID-19. Very interesting nugget. Fully vaccinated, both doses, etc. And yet it is bringing back restrictions amid a rise in COVID cases. A huge case. I mean, compared to, the size of Seychelles, large spike, 3-4x times of what India is seeing in terms of the population density, right? You know what vaccination was given to their population? It was a Chinese vaccine. I won't say more, General Bakshi, but with that point, I'll just hand it over to you, because a Chinese virologist had claimed that she had evidence, and she was literally, tarnished by the Western media. She was, completely, sidelined. Her posts were taken off. Her account was deactivated. And today, she spoke to us. And what she had said 1 year back is coming true today, and if true, the US State Department is also looking into it. General Bakshi.
Arnab, I would, as a military professional, like to remind people that biological warfare has not come now. In the First World War, Second World War, there were huge stockpiles of biological warfare weapons. till the Biological Warfare Convention outlawed them and nations were asked to destroy whatever stocks they possibly had. Now what I would like to tell you is the evidence for a biological warfare scenario is very largely circumstantial, but you can ignore it only at your own peril. Now let me please give me some time, because everybody is trying to poo-poo, this scenario. I don't think it is so simple as it is being made out. Nobody is saying don't treat the people. I mean, that is not rocket science, that if your people are sick, you will not treat them and you will divert your energy somewhere else. We are treating them. But the fact is, if it is biological warfare, right, and you treat the first mutation, you have the second. You treat the second, you have the third and the fourth and the 10th. So we have to look at the other scenario in a very rational and very, very objective manner. Now let me tell you, in 2017, the Chinese came out, the People's Liberation Army came out with a revised version of its, Science of Military Strategy, which is their official doctrine. It had a new chapter on biological warfare, on weaponizing the virus. Now, if you are a signatory to a convention which bans biological warfare, how can you put it in your official doctrine? I'm not talking of the book published by 2 Chinese senior colonels way back in 1999. Not also the book done in 2014 by another Chinese scholar and then by a Lieutenant General, Zhang Zheng. I am talking of the official Chinese doctrine. Now, this present paper is as close as you can possibly get to a smoking gun. If you expect the Chinese to admit it to you, yes, we did it, well, I think you are living in a fool's paradise. The WHO team that went there was quarantined for 15 days, not allowed to get out of the hotel. You forget about going to the Wuhan Institute. By the time they had cleaned up that institute, very properly, they were not given access to any of the blood samples, drainage water samples, not taken to the 2 critical hospitals, no access to documentation, personal, etc. I mean, that was a joke. Now, let's not all get carried away by the joke. I know people would like to keep their relations very good with China. You might get some next trip there. But let me tell you a few facts. Now take excuse me, can I please finish? I have heard everybody very patiently. Now just take a look at the latest document. This is a report by Xu Dezhong. He was the professor at the PLA Air Force Medical University, 4th Medical University at Xi'an. He is one of their top virologists. In 2015, he and his team of scientists briefed the Central Military Commission 24 times. Now let me just read one excerpt from the report. Arnab, I have also done my homework and I'm not talking through my hat. Now just listen to this, and also the scholars around here, please. The Chinese report says newfound ability to freeze dry microorganisms has made it possible to store bioagents and aerosolize them during attacks. All right? They are talking now of the nuts and bolts of how to use it. They define the best conditions under which you can release biological attacks. Then they say, major impacts include enormous burden on healthcare systems. Biological weapon attacks have a much prolonged effect than conventional attacks. They will create psychological pressure. They will create increased morbidity and mass cases, but also induce formidable psychological pressure. Now, not just me, let me just quote you. The United States expert, Judy Melkowitz. I am not saying this. He is saying this, that this natural mutation, is no natural mutation would have this level of pathology and communicability. It has to be genetically engineered. Now, let me also point out to you, Arnab.
Yeah.
The Wuhan Institute of Virology is run by two People's Liberation Army Major Generals, Major General Shi Zhengli and Major General Chen Wei. They are both the top virologists of the People's Liberation Army. Major General Sheng Li, she published 4 papers on how to weaponize the bat coronaviruses. All right? How to weaponize the bat corona. No, let me just finish. The people are being dismissive here on a national security issues. On a national security issue. And I'm sorry, that is my domain. So kindly let me have my say. This airy-fairy dismissing of a very dangerous kind of a situation, I think is an ostrich attitude. Now,
but the anchor's name is not Arnab. Find the, know the enemy before you fight it, before you debate it.
It's okay, he doesn't have a TV screen in front of him. General Bakshi is Niranjan here. So that's okay. That's okay, that's fine. That's okay. That's That's not a debating point.
No, I was just kidding.
Sorry. Okay, Major General Sheng Li. No, I don't have a screen in front of me, and I was just told that.
No. I'm sorry. I was having a light moment.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. General Bakshi, complete your point, General Bakshi.
Major General Sheng Li.
Yeah, complete your point. Complete your point.
Thank you.
Complete your point.
Thank you. Major General Sheng Li had published 4 papers which dealt with weaponizing the bat coronaviruses, which are available, the sledgehammer bats in Nanjing. They're weaponizing those bat coronaviruses.
Yes.
They had identified 89 strains in conjunction with the Americans who had funded this research, okay? So we know about it. So they had weaponized, she had put up a proposal to weaponize the bat coronavirus by splicing the SARS hook molecule, or what is called the S molecule, which attaches itself to the human cell.
Now,
this was attached to this. She put up a proposal to attach it to the bat coronavirus. And 2 strains were identified. We have the numbers. So the point at issue is suddenly these papers vanished from the net. They were withdrawn. All right? They were withdrawn from the net. Right? Yeah.
May I?
My point at issue is.
That's the question I wanted to take to. That's the question I wanted to take to Sanju Verma, and then I'll bring the other experts.
What they are talking about.
There is, and that's the point I wanted to come to. Yeah. General Bakshi, you hear this point, is it not true? And let me go put this question to Sanju Verma, and then I'll get the other panelists in. They haven't spoken yet. Now, Sanju,
yes.
In 2016, rather since 2016, the Central Military Commission funded projects on military brain science, advanced biomimetic systems, biomimetic materials, human performance enhancement, and China followed a national strategy of military-civil fusion to take forward what General Bakshi said on why you can't trust China. And we know that even as we speak, our forces, while battling COVID and joining this battle against COVID, are still alert, especially on the borders with China.
Niranjan, I first wanted to say that General Bakshi made some very pertinent points. And I think there are too many smoking guns. There's too much of incontrovertible evidence suggesting that, yes, this could not have been a natural virus. I would just like to quote, since, I'm no medical expert, but I would certainly like to quote somebody who's very well regarded in the international community. I am talking of none other than Dr. Francis Boyle, the head of biowarfare and international law at the University of Illinois. He says that there are about 4,000 to 5,000 mutants of the coronavirus, mind you, 4,000 to 5,000. And he said that the manner in which more than 3.5 million people have died globally, it could only happen if in a laboratory, these virus strains have been combined together in some permutation or combination to ensure that they become a source of genetic weaponry and become dangerous and lead to the kind of devastation that has been wreaked on mankind. This is what he said. Now, the point is that it is not Dr. Francis Boyle alone. If you look at Peter Jennings, who heads the Australian think tank, he said that, the PLA, the army of the Chinese government, it has openly spoken of weaponizing, the SARS virus in a laboratory as recently as 2015, whereas the likes of cybersecurity expert, Robert Potter has said that China started weaponizing and thinking in terms of bio-warfare way back in 1993. So the documents in public domain suggest that there's more evidence to believe that this is genetically engineered and the pathogen perhaps was released accidentally. The only thing we don't know whether the pathogen that has wreaked the kind of devastation was released deliberately or accidentally. Initial reports suggest it was accidentally. And perhaps that's the reason the global community has held back despite being anguished. And being anguished is a very mild term. Now, the second question is, if there is incontrovertible evidence that China indeed has been at the epicenter of all of this, why is the global community not coming together? I think that has already started. Look at the manner in which the 5G wireless network of Huawei, which is today more powerful than many governments worldwide, that has been completely thwarted. Be it the United Kingdom, the United States of America, the European Union, what have you. But, to be able to deal with China, a globally coordinated effort is necessary because don't forget, I'll give you just a small example. You can't be foolhardy when you're dealing with China. Australia is the most dependent Western economy on China. That has been publicly documented. China stopped importing coal and iron ore from Australia. And do you know what? Despite barely having a population maybe a zillionth of what India has, 2 million jobs were lost in Australia. And Indonesia became the top exporter of iron ore to China. As long as China accounts for 30% of any global import and 30% of most things that are exported, it will continue to have the economic muscle to prevail. So I think the point here is that globally nations should come together, find common unity of purpose and ensure that a country which has been expansionist in its attitude, be it the South China or the East China Seas, needs to be dealt with, because I think global bullying is not going to work anymore. And I think that has been more than amply showcased by the fact that today in the Quad, you have Japan, Australia, United States and India. China is not a part of Quad. China, despite trying desperately, is not a part of the missile technology control regime. So the world is getting to understand that expansionism and bullying does not work. No. And I'm sure it will prevail upon China to ensure that it comes clean on whether the pathogen was released deliberately or accidentally. But the fact that it was genetically engineered in the laboratory, the BSL-4 laboratory in Wuhan, I think that is now par for the course. And
Sanju Verma.
9:30.
I want to quickly go across to all our other panelists, and I request our panelists to, keep your intervention short, maybe keep it under 90 seconds. I want to take it to Suhail Seth. Suhail, one of the mentions in this report is how the medical system would collapse. Now, this is a 2015 report. Nobody predicted back then that COVID-19 would be such a large scale, a pandemic that would cripple medical systems across the world in the most powerful countries. India, America, UK, France, Italy, and I don't have to spell out the countries. But that doctrine, if true, aimed at not just crippling medical systems, but also economy. So can you discount such a report or rubbish it?
Not at all. China is essentially not a republic. It's the People's Rogue Nation of China. They should change the name. Let me give you some very quick, but I don't want to, General Bakshi's gone through an almost brilliant thesis of the issues. Till date, there have been only 103,809. So 809 confirmed cases, 4,858 deaths in China. But guess what? They have already vaccinated 2.8 billion doses, which means 1.4 billion people. How on earth did they have a plan for all of this if it wasn't being read in their own backyard? I don't want to get into a conspiracy theory. Number two, they have used the World Health Organization as their little lapdog. Tedros is nothing but equally a criminal and should be charged for genocide. He's as useless as anyone else trying to investigate the Chinese. My final point is that let's not mollycoddle the Chinese. Whenever you've done that, they take kindness for weakness. The world will never come together. You know, Sanju was right. The world should not. No one will. Everyone is worried about their own equation with China, which is primarily economic. These rogues have to be dealt with in another manner. I'm not suggesting we can barely vaccinate our people, so we're not going to produce a virus that will harm them, and we're not that kind of people. But someone needs to ostracize China in a more definitive manner. And the starting point, Niranjan, is what you've done this evening. Discuss China. Shame them internationally. Their only modus operandi is to suppress voices that question, criticize, or critique. You won't get by, sanctions and all because they don't really care. They don't care. They're an uncaring race. General Bakshi talked about it. You read that article, it tells you, a friend of mine from Bombay, Farad Asidwala, sent it to me. You know what the article talks about? From the fact that in Wuhan, there was a mine which stopped working in 2012, and then what happened, and how they discovered this, and how the suppression business happened. Unless the global media takes them on and discounts the advertisers or the advertising that emanates from that region, we will never be able to stall China. China is an unstoppable rogue. And a bully, as Sanju said, is essentially a coward. You can't do anything. We can talk in India, "Arey, Chinese ko maar denge, khatam kar denge." Kuch nahi hoga. So my view is take a more considered, more pragmatic and more realistic approach. In fact, follow Sun Tzu. Use a borrowed knife to kill your enemy. So we need to know which that borrowed knife will be. Will it be America? Will it be the EU? Who? I don't know. I'm done. Exactly 90 seconds.
Yeah. Let me take that point forward to Professor D.K. Giri. Professor D.K. Giri. Yeah, thank you very much. Well, let me see if Professor D.K. Giri can follow that rule as well. I'm sure he will. Yeah. Professor Giri, isn't it curious how 15 months, Professor Giri, how 15 months after the SARS-2 pandemic began, I haven't asked my question, how 15 months after the SARS-2 pandemic began, Chinese researchers failed to find either the original bat population or the intermediate species to which SARS-2 might have jumped, or any serological evidence that any Chinese population was exposed to it before 2019. Could it be a lab-made virus?
You see, Niranjan, I am appalled at the colossal failure of the government in anticipating these things. If Sanju Burma knows this, General Bakshi knows this, I have written several articles on this. Why is government not aware of the Chinese sinister designs on India? Today, even our national pride, the cricket, is sponsored by a Chinese company, Vivo. Look at the jerseys the Indian players wear. Sanju Burma is talking of boycotting China, ostracizing China. But does your government see that? That is one point. Second point is whether it is a biological weapon or it was a natural virus. You see that there is lots of evidence. We have not been able to anticipate it. Our intelligence has failed. And look at the, General Bakshi was saying that it's not rocket science to treat people. That's a very insensitive statement. People are dying on the streets, on the park, and the hospital corridors. This is pathetic. This is the worst that has happened to India and in the world. And we have failed to vaccinate our people. We started exporting we suddenly declared that we are the pharma hub of the world, and we are sort of vaccines. There was no planning, there was no priority, and there was no intelligence. So it's a total failure, and we have to blame. China is a rogue state. There are no two opinions about it. But what has the government of India done with that? It is not just talking in the television. Sanju Burma should write a letter to the Prime Minister and say, these are the evidence, and quote all this research he has done. Thank you.
This is not done.
Okay, very short intervention, Professor Giri. Thank you for that. Let me see if I can go across to Sriram Chola. Last two panelists who haven't spoken, I'll get their interventions in. 1 second, Sanju Verma. I know you want to jump in, but don't jump in. Sriram Chola hasn't spoken. Two panelists haven't spoken. Hold on. Let me get in the other panelists, and then you can square off. Okay, Sriram. Sriram, look at what China's tried to do, to try and reap the benefits of the pandemic. One example. Isn't it clear that they're operating with an agenda when a now deleted social media post by China's law enforcement body? I think you know about this. Top law enforcement body, juxtaposing, by the way, the launch of a module into space with grim cremation pyres in India. You'll remember that article recently. It was captioned China lighting a fire versus India lighting a fire. Was doing the rounds earlier this week. That's just one of the instances among hundreds and thousands of examples that we can pull up of how they tried to reap benefits out of this COVID-19 pandemic. Sriram.
Of the Chinese Communist Party, what kind of regime it is? It has been created by Mao Zedong, who had no hesitation to once say in 1957 that if we have a nuclear war with the imperialists, meaning the West, 300 million Chinese may die. And then he says, so what? If 300 million die, it's worth it to fight with our enemies. And then he says, eventually we'll start making babies again, and the Chinese nation, Chinese civilization will rise up again. So this is the kind of absolute cold-blooded and ruthless mindset of the communists. That must be highlighted. People are not talking about what kind of regime it is. China is not any ordinary country. It is a communist regime with a leader like Xi Jinping who believes in marked politics, which means using power and crushing your opponents. So right now, when you look at this report, what does it suggest? I think there is more than what is meeting the eye. They have a very, very powerful biological and chemical weapons program. It is part of their military doctrine, as General Bakshi was saying. You have to study the military doctrine and join the dots with this report. Then it all comes together, a picture. Why have they tried to block the WHO investigators so doggedly, so cussedly, for so long? Why did they delay? Why did they manipulate the WHO inquiry? Why have they not given us access, the world access to all the samples of the patients before November 2019? So what does all this add up to? They are hiding. What are they hiding remains to be seen. Is this report helping us in getting us closer to the truth? Yes. One more step. But it's a small pebble that is being thrown towards the quest for truth. And ultimately, China has to be held accountable even if it was not deliberate. Let's say it was not deliberate. Let's say it is not even a lab leak. It is a fact that the Communist Party suppressed, the whistleblower suppressed the news for several months before it spread to the whole world. So they are still guilty in the court of the international public opinion, even if it was not a lab leak, even if it was not a deliberate bioweapon. But let us assume the worst case scenario which the report is showing. They have a doctrine of the so-called, 7 domains of warfare, and they are increasingly emphasizing on biological warfare. They have spent how much money on biological weapons? Look at, apart from the US, I don't think any power on earth has spent so much money on biological warfare. And they have a long memory. These communists believe they have to take revenge against their enemies. They talk about the Korean War in the 1950s when the US they claimed that the US used chemical weapons on Chinese forces. And they are preparing for a long war. Xi Jinping says that the US is the main threat, and then all the other US allies in the region are the subsidiary threats to China's rights. So they are going to use this. Whether they use it in 2019 in the form of COVID-19 or not, we have to see religion. They are going to use it. So we have to prepare.
But Sunil Chopra,
call them out on this and dissect their military doctrine and the communist ideology. Then we get to the truth.
There's a very old saying.
This is a start. Like I said, this is a start because many media houses won't even touch this. Sunil Chopra, you belong to the left. Let me ask you. Let me ask you a question. You've started anyway. So you go ahead. You make your point, and then I'll come in. You make your point. You've started your point. Okay, make your point.
the essential point is fools rush in where angels fear to tread. And I can see a hell of a lot of people here are fooling around. I agree with Dr. Godse. Our job is to save our people first. Our job is to save our people first. And for truth day, today, we are saving our people. We are putting our best effort to save our people, but there is also the truth that needs to be found out. Our job is to save our people first. And the Ganga is full of dead bodies today. If you saw our channel, and you like idiots. You want to save your comrade. You like idiots. You like idiots are in fact all of you accept the fact that this is a bloodthirsty regime. And you got a girl. It is a bloodthirsty regime that you are trying to defend or cover up. I know what you people do. And I
request you to be restrained.
You are idiots because fools rush in.
No, Sunil Chopra, I don't think, Sunil Chopra, I think you should. No, you're entitled to your opinion, Sunil Chopra, but I don't think you watch. No, yeah.
I can tell you what information.
Who are you saying it to? Sanju Verma? Are you saying it to Sanju Verma? Then be specific. No, but then be specific. Be specific.
In fact, General Bakshi, on my internet, I got a message that he had died. Immediately, I checked up and saw it was lies, and I said it is lies, it should be wiped out.
Oh, God.
You are people just like that.
I don't understand why you're giving so much time to this man. He's been talking
excuse me, 1 second. Sunil Chopra, I don't think... No, I don't think... 1 second. Sanju Verma, I don't think he knows the context of the debate. Sunil Chopra, this is a report that the US State Department is investigating. Maybe even the US State Department is lying. Maybe even the Australian government is lying. Maybe even the UK, all media houses in Australia, UK, US, everyone is lying. No, everyone is lying. Yeah, everyone is lying.
A lot of people
Yes. Everyone is talking rubbish. You're making a lot of sense. I'm asking you questions. You don't even want to take my questions.
They want some fool like you to rush in and have a fight. When you can't do it. Anyway.
Who's they? All
these
are you talking to Sanju Verma? Okay, Sanju Verma is responding to you. I think Sanju Verma, you're referring to Sanju Verma. Let her respond.
I have seen fake news only a couple of
Oh, God.
days ago.
Oh, God. Read the newspaper sometimes. Sanju Verma.
Can do anything.
No, I understand that you're a left supporter. I understand that you're a left supporter and you're a communist at heart. That's completely okay. But, you also appreciate that, we've all been... No, I am telling you, we've all been covering the COVID... we've all been covering the ground realities of COVID-19. I don't think you ever watched the channel. You don't... No. Oh my God. Sunil Chopra, Sanju Verma, I'll let Sanju Verma respond and then I'll end the debate on that note.
I will respond provided you give me uninterrupted time because, I have been listening to a lot of hogwash that this man has been talking. Some of which is unpalatable.
Sanju Verma, I can't stop him, so if you want to make your point, make your point. No, I requested that the panelists be restrained in their views and keep it under 90 seconds, but that hasn't happened. Since I have failed, you can, make your point to Sunil Chopra, and we'll end it on that note.
Nobody kept them for 90 seconds.
At least you can lower his fader. I don't want to be screaming over him because I think I was very well behaved and I did not interrupt when he was making those points, which were pointless.
We don't want to lower.
Let me now come in.
We don't want to lower anybody's fader, but go ahead and make your point.
Yeah, so please don't interrupt me now. I'll make my point. Thank you. First of all, let me tell Sunil Chopra and leftists like him. I know that being senile comes naturally to you. Being abusive comes naturally to you. So I am not going to be offended. But I will give data to support what the Modi government is doing.
No, you don't have to say that.
We have given 18 crore vaccines to states free of cost. We have vaccinated more than 17 crore people in 114 days. China took 140 days.
Not required.
140. We took 114. 114. So excuse me, our vaccination rate is the fastest globally.
It's not required. I'll have to come in at that point.
No,
1 second. I'll come in at that point.
Globally.
I'll come in at that point.
Recovery rate at 89%.
I have to step in. No, I have to step in at that point. I'll step in at that point and I'll have to intervene. I'll have to step in and intervene. Okay, I'm stepping in and I'm leaving. One second. I'm stepping in. Okay, Sanju, 1 second. Sanju, pull back. Sunit Chopra, pull back. No. Okay, Sunit Chopra, pull back. Sanju Verma, pull back. 1 second. Sanju, it's not required. You don't have to use words like senile. It's not required. No, you don't have to use words like senile. Pull back. No. Sunit Chopra, you don't have to use words like idiot. You don't have to use words like idiot. And Sanju Verma, you don't have to use words like senile. It's not required. Okay, this is a civil debate. And on that note, I'm thanking all our panelists. I'm thanking all our panelists with 1 point. All of you just hear 1 point. 1 point. No, let me end the debate on one last point. The Chinese mouthpiece. No. All of you think about this while you fight between yourselves. Think about this. While all of you fight between yourselves, think about this. Think about this. The Chinese mouthpiece tried to create insecurity a few days back. I don't know whether any of you managed to read it, but the Chinese mouthpiece tried to create insecurity by saying that the economy of India's neighbors in South and Southeast Asia may need 2 decades to return to pre-pandemic level amid the new wave of COVID-19. And it was published by the Chinese mouthpiece. Any guesses why? I don't have to tell you. On that note, I'll thank all our panelists for joining us on this debate. On the other side, at 10 p.m., when we come back, we have the reports and an interview with a Chinese whistleblower, a virologist who left Hong Kong, faced persecution, a family faced persecution in China. She spoke to Republic TV from New York. That's coming up next. Stay tuned.